I'm Dr. Thomas McCluskey, a postdoctoral researcher in the graduate school. Briefly answering the question, so can you tell me about your research, can be challenging, whether the question comes from an expert in your field at a conference or your cousin at a family gathering. At this workshop, we'll discuss ways to explain your research briefly in a sentence or a few sentences to expert and non-expert audiences to make sure your voice is heard. First, as you reflect on ways to answer this question, focus on the core components of what you're studying in graduate school and why you're studying it. As we move forward with our research, we spend a lot of time in the details and particulars, but in a brief overview, we need to go back to the fundamental questions and purpose of what we're doing. This can require a bit of initial brainstorming before you can articulate what your research is about and why it matters. Your elevator pitch is as much about pitching you and your passion for your project as it is about the research itself. So composing an elevator pitch can be useful as a reflection to help you define your own scholarly identity. Researcher Laura Caton argues that a few basic questions can help you construct a framework for how to concisely present your research. Grab 5 index cards and label them who I am, what I do, how I do it, why I do it, and who I do it for. Ideally, you'll have 2 compelling sentences underneath each heading, so fill in any gaps if you need to. Once you have a handle on these questions, making a case for your research will be easier. By answering these questions, you're crafting the narrative of your research and why it matters, a story that can clearly explain who you are and why you're passionate about your project. While adjustments can be made depending on the needs and expectations of specific audiences, the core answers to these questions, the so what of your elevator pitch, will ground your responses. Once you have a handle on your so what arguments, think about your audience and the situation for your explanation. These explanatory elevator pitches are relevant in job interviews, career fairs, professional and academic conferences, networking events, and impromptu personal encounters, among many other situations. For each situation, consider what your audience already knows about your research area and what the purpose of your explanation is. Each audience has different expectations and interests. Explaining your research to your family? Well, they know you, but they might know little about what you're studying and may lack the technical expertise needed to understand complex theoretical terms and jargon. What do you want to achieve with your explanation? Do you want to engage them to ask more questions, to fit what you do into a familiar context, or persuade them of the value of your work? For audiences outside your discipline, like your family, you might think about what parts of your research they might find most interesting. Conversely, a professional audience or one in your field might understand broadly what your research is about, but not know the specifics of your contribution. Again, what's your goal in a brief explanation? To highlight the value of your particular contribution? To persuade them of your enthusiasm and authority in the research? Taking into account these distinctions about audience and purpose is an essential step. What does your audience already know, and why would they be interested in learning more? Why does your research matter to them, and what can your scholarship do for their lives? The best elevator pitches adapt to the needs and expectations of specific audiences. Third, remember to practice your elevator pitch as much as possible. Remember that this short speech, between 30 and 60 seconds in length, is not a typical presentation and won't take place in a traditional speech environment, behind a podium or in front of a captive audience. You'll be giving this pitch during cocktail hours, in one-on-one conversations over lunch, and yes, in elevators. Researcher Alison Doyle explains the best way to feel comfortable about giving an elevator pitch is to practice it until the speed and pitch come naturally without sounding robotic. You will get used to varying the conversation as you practice doing so. The more you practice, the easier it will be to deliver. This pitch will be an articulation of your research identity and an explanation of who you are as a scholar. Thus, being conversational and authentic is essential. To that end, as you get used to delivering your pitch, it's fine to vary it as a little bit. The idea is that it doesn't sound too formulaic or like it's pre-prepared, even though it is. Practicing in front of a mirror, or better yet, in front of your friends and colleagues, can help you get more comfortable and relaxed. Remember, you're just having a conversation about things you care about, so relax and be yourself. Explaining your research in concise and accessible ways can be challenging. In this workshop, we explored strategies for crafting and engaging and memorable elevator pitch that can successfully convey your scholarly identity and passion for your research so that your voice will be heard.